On Wednesday, August 26, Putin was in the Kremlin. His telephone conversation with the Syrian President al-Shara took place not long ago. In the next few minutes, we will provide a detailed report on the content of this international telephone conversation. During the day, the President is planning a number of work meetings. One of them will be with Minister Anton Alekhanov of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, one of the leading departments. There will be a huge range of work, a busy agenda at the ministry. We will talk about all this, about the results of the 6-month work. Other meetings with the President will be non-public. Do you have any questions? Can I ask a question about the Russian newspaper? Can I ask a question about the Russian newspaper? Just a second. There was someone before the BBC. Can I ask a question about the Russian newspaper? Yes, please, thank you. Dmitry Sergeyevich, Putin has already been informed about the results of the contact with the CIA Director. Were they positive? Could you explain what level of contact it was? Our director of the CIA and the director of the FSB met. I can only tell you that there were contacts on the line of special services. I can tell you that there were no meetings with the President of Russia. This is all I can tell you on this topic. Of course, President Putin is reported on everything immediately. Can I ask a question on the same topic? Yes, please. Alexander Gamov, Komsomolskaya Pravda. Dmitry Sergeyevich, can such a visit of such a high-ranking official of the U.S. President's administration have any positive impact on Russian-American relations, which are now going through not the best period? And what kind of hopes does the Kremlin have in this regard? Thank you. Well, the contacts on the line of special services themselves are a positive phenomenon, a positive process. These contacts often continue into the most difficult moments of bilateral relations. By the way, our president also talked about this. But as far as this will affect the process of bringing our bilateral relations out of the deepest crisis they are in, it is too early to say. More? Thank you. BBC. BBC, please, thank you. Steve Rosenberg, BBC. There is a lot of speculation in social networks about the topic of these talks. What can you say about the topic of Iran and Ukraine? Has there been any warning addressed to Russia, as many people write? I have nothing more to add to what I have already said on this topic. Thank you. Zvezda News, please. Yes, please. Thank you very much. Dmitry Sergeyevich, the second former Minister of Defense of Ukraine, publicly accuses Ukrainian politicians of corruption after his resignation and actually admits that Kyiv is preventing the conflict. How does the Kremlin assess these statements? Do you think that this confirms the systemic problems in the Ukrainian leadership? And why does Europe not pay attention to such statements, continuing to pump up the regime with resources? Thank you. Well, the fact that Ukraine is losing the conflict is unambiguous. The dynamics at the fronts clearly demonstrate this. This is the first thing. The fact that former participants of the corruption process, having left power, begin to accuse their former partners of corruption is also unambiguous and obvious. The quasi-political mess within the Kyiv regime is taking place. It is being activated. The Kyiv regime is being destroyed from the inside. It is losing its stability, which has always left much to be desired. And the fact that the Europeans do not want to notice this is a big mistake. Anything else? Thank you very much. Can I ask you a question? Yes, please. Against the backdrop of the conversation about Radcliffe, are there any plans to visit other high-ranking U.S. guests in the Kremlin in the near future? I will repeat once again that he has had no contacts with the Kremlin. I cannot tell you about any further contacts. One more question, please. No, I cannot speak on behalf of other departments. There are no plans to make any contacts on behalf of the Kremlin. Anything else? Yes, please. Thank you. In Switzerland, the absence of grounds for confiscation of frozen Russian assets has been recognized. Can you tell me if the Kremlin sees any signs that the Europeans are returning to Russian international law? And can the position of Switzerland be the first step towards defrosting our assets? Who recognized it? I simply do not have such information. Who exactly recognized it? It was the Secretary of State of Switzerland on the economy. I am not familiar with this decision, with this statement, so I cannot tell you anything. Thank you. Anything else? Let me ask a final question to Urar. Thank you very much. Can you tell us what the Kremlin thinks about the statements of Pashinyan, who accused the opposition of attempting to attract peacekeeping forces to Armenia? Do you think that the opposition really tried to do this? What do you associate the Prime Minister's words with, and how can you comment on the detention of President Robert Kocharian? Do you consider this a political decision? Thank you. I would not like to comment on the internal political events in Armenia now. There are very complex processes going on there. One can only hope that everything that is happening will be carried out in strict accordance with the law, and that the rights of all participants in the political process in the Republic will be respected.